Ooh, whatto chaps, I'm Magical Mike. You're watching this nonsense. You can follow me on Twitter at YTMagicalMike, which nobody cares about. But shh, I'll keep saying it. Eventually somebody might care. You know, I am in Lion's Arch. I don't know what the hell's going on. But there's some crazy stuff going on. Anyway, build video. Another necromancer build. It's what I've been running with for a while now. It's fairly interesting. It's a bit different to what I was doing, but not too different. So we've gone 30 in Spite, 10 in Death Magic, and 30 in Soul Reaping. And the basic idea of this is to, well, firstly, you've got your staff in one of your weapon sets, because the staff is just too good to pass up. And in the other weapon set, it's a choice between dagger in your main hand, or axe, and then warhorn, or focus. I prefer focus. And the main idea of this build is to just stack vulnerability on the enemy, stack might on yourself, and just do straight up damage. So we'll go through the traits. In Spite, Life Blast and Plague Blast, which is your Death Shroud stuff, give might for 15 seconds. And in Soul Reaping, we've got Vital no, where is it? There we go, Unyielding Blast down there. Life Blast pierces and causes vulnerability. So what this means is that, in combination with Vital Persistence, which drains your life force slower, if you're not taking damage in Death Shroud, then you're able to just sit in Death Shroud for a large amount of time and pierce all your enemies with AoE damage, which grants vulnerability on them and gives you might. Basically, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. I'm not even spec'd out very highly, my gear isn't very good yet. I did just get exotic armour, but my jewellery is terrible, it's level 50 stuff at best. And I crit for a good 1700, and crit fairly often as well, which is quite surprising. And considering that that pierces, that's a huge amount of damage there. And also soul marks, because I'm using a staff, and marks generate 3% life force when triggered. Basically just fuels my Death Shroud a lot. You can also swap this up for Death Shroud recharging faster, or stability for 3 seconds when you're in a Death Shroud, which basically means that you can enter Death Shroud, be stable, and hit life transfer, and never have that interrupted if you cast it immediately, which is a good thing. I've gone 10 points into Death Magic just to have Staff Mastery, so that my staff skills recharge faster. Just personal preference there, you could pretty much do anything you want with those 10 points, but I just kind of prefer having my staff skills be a bit more spammable. And I also have marks dealing 10% more damage, and close to death, which is 20% more damage to enemies below 50% health, just because in a dungeon or whatever, which is the footage you should be seeing in the background now, that will just grant you a lot more damage. And on a mob that has a lot of health, you're going to have that effect working for quite a long time. Now I do realise there are still a lot of bugs with the Necromancer, and it does have a lot of problems, but I believe this build is actually fairly strong for power, and will give you quite a lot of damage, and versatility, utility, which I should talk about slot skills now, utility stuff. Consume Conditions is my choice, my heal of choice, just because it's really powerful, and combined with Blood's power gives you self-bleeding, powers up your Consume Conditions, and the recharges are fairly similar as well, so you can pretty much just use those on recharge if you need to. Blood's power in particular gives you 10 stacks of might for free, which is the main reason you use it, and Well of Suffering gives a whole bunch of vulnerability, again, but Well of Suffering in itself is just really powerful. And again, stacking vulnerability, good stuff, more damage, excellent. I also have Spectral Armour, just for the protection and the stun break. That's really up to you what you want to put in there. And Lich Form, because it scales with power incredibly well. and you'll be doing a whole lot of damage with that. So the basic usage of the build is to dump all your staff marks on stuff, swap to your axe and your focus, throw out your Reaper's Touch, which will give some stacks of vulnerability, and auto attack with your axe for a bit, build up those vulnerability stacks, and hit your Q for Blood is Power, gives you might, go into Death Shroud, just auto attacking Death Shroud for a bit, stacking vulnerability on them, giving you might. Go back into your axe and hit skill 2, which is your burst skill for your axe. It'll recharge your life force some more, and it'll do a whole bunch of damage in the process. It's actually quite a good combination, it's just that I'm not too interested in it right now. I want to try condition damage stuff, so that will hopefully be the next build that I do. As for right now, this build's pretty good, it's not bad, gives you a lot of time in Death Shroud, and Death Shroud is pretty fun to use. So there you go, that's it, pretty simple stuff, stack power, blast stuff, kill, necro, murder. Yeah. What? Oh dear, I should end this. I'll see you guys next time.